Indeed, we're intensifying our efforts against ISIL's base in Syria. Our airstrikes will continue to target the oil and gas facilities that fund so much of their operations. We're going after the ISIL leadership and infrastructure in Syria, the heart of ISIL that pumps funds and propaganda to people around the world.
The president at the Pentagon mere moments ago, carried live right here on Newsmax. The president deciding to finally get some idea from his advisors at the Pentagon what is happening with the fight against ISIS. But while ISIS sits out there and the president had a very nice speech but didn't really say much, in essence, there is still the issue of Iran and the nuclear deal. Let's talk about this and so much more. Our guest is the principal author of the now famous Shock and Awe Doctrine, senior advisor at the Brent Scowcroft Center on International Security. Let's welcome back Harlan Ullman. Harlan, it's a pleasure to get a chance to talk to you again. Did you hear anything, first of all, the president speaking about the fight against ISIS, anything new at all?
The problem is that the president outlined a campaign and not a strategy. And when he said we, who is the we? We have a coalition of 62 states that are dealing with the Islamic State. And the question is, who is rallying them? Who is in charge? What are the responsibilities? And what are they supposed to be doing? That all forms the basis of the strategy. And while launching airstrikes against state and Syria, probably a good, I still don't know what the overarching strategy is ultimately to defeat them.
All right, Harlan, I'll play devil's advocate here for a moment. The president comes out, delivers a wonderful speech. It's what the American people want to hear. The media covers it. We listen to it. We write it down. We hear very little that's new. Is it possible, and I know I've probably asked you this question before, but possible that there is a strategy, and at this point the president simply doesn't want to show his hand?
No, there is a strategy, and the strategy is based on having the Iraqis doing the heavy lifting and having the coalition in the region support the Iraqis with us providing enabling factors.
So at the end of the day, no matter how we slice it, no matter what we hear from the president, we still have to then keep in mind that it is still the American government, it's still the American military, whatever it is. The president was very obvious about that. He said you've got to have ground troops getting the job done for you, but it's still the American government that has to lead the way.
I agree with that, but the fact of the matter is, what is the coalition doing? What are the Iraqis doing? What are the Iraqis doing to minimize the Sunni-Shia split, which was one of the reasons why the Islamic State has been formed? We're not putting enough pressure on the coalition or on the government, and so I agree that we have a strategy. The problem here is that we're not executing it properly, and we're not having the other components of strategy do the lifting that's necessary for success.
Harlan, we ask what people are doing. Let's go ahead then, spin to Iran and ask you, what are the Iranians doing? It quite frankly just seems like they're playing games.
Well, we'll find out. We have a day or two. My column today argued very much that if there is a deal, this could be the prelude to lots of other opportunities. But at this stage, it's impossible to guess. We all know that there are differences of opinion over lifting of the sanctions, of inspections, and the intrusive nature of how all this is going to be put together. Now, if we can get a verifiable, effective deal, that is in everybody's best interest. I think this will go down to the final moments. John Kerry said we are ahead of where we were, but we're not far enough. I think we're going to have to wait a day or two to find out whether this works or does not. And I'm hopeful, but at this stage, this is a bet that I don't think anybody can predict with any degree of certainty.
Would you expect, the big sticking point here now is inspections. The U.S. wants them, and on short notice, the Iranians say absolutely not, we will limit it. Do you see any way possible that the United States will be able to shove that part of the deal through?
Oh, yeah, there's a lot of give and take here. For example, the Ayatollah said that we can't have access to military sites. It depends how you define military sites. So I think there's enough flexibility here. I don't think that the deal will founder on whether we can get immediate access or not. The deal will founder on whether or not the Iranians are prepared to open their nuclear sites to inspection, or prepared to deal with what we want to do in relieving sanctions, and if they are open to a free and very, very, very transparent system. If they are, this can work. If they can't, it will not. It's almost that simple.
And we will wait to see if another deadline passes. Harlan Ullman, always a pleasure to talk to you, my friend. Thanks so much. We'll talk to you again soon.
Thank you, Ed. Take care.
All right. The key here on Iran is they say the nuclear deal must include the lifting of United Nations arms embargoes. And again, we have a deadline coming up on Tuesday. Let's be honest, this deadline will pass. So will other deadlines. Because quite frankly, there is no real red line in the sand when it comes to Iran. Let's get your opinion on something here. We've heard the president now here in the last 40 minutes or so talk about ISIS. We have talked about Iran here. Let's ask you, could, in your opinion, a Republican president handle ISIS and Iran better? How would they do that? And which candidate would you want dealing with the Middle East? Don't just tell us if you think they can, but tell us why you think that a Republican president could handle ISIS and Iran better, which candidate would be better dealing with it, and then let us get to it. Go to newsmaxpolls.com to cast your vote. We'll talk about that as we continue on through the week. Coming up next, a breakthrough in the treatment of Parkinson's and potentially other serious ailments next on MidPoint.